Good morning, everybody. Apologies for being late. I had a bit of a snafu with my computer. I needed to reload. Meredith is joining me. Good morning, Meredith. Think C's on the way. We don't have a very long show for you today. Today's the last day of the awards cycle. 4 weeks in. You can hear me, right, Meredith?
I can hear you, but I'm like, we're live.
Yeah, we are live just because we're already late because my computer needed a sudden reboot. You know how you're in the middle of something and it suddenly reboots because someone sent an update? I'll take it because there was nothing wrong with it, so I'm not going to complain. But it was like, for those who don't know, I've been pushing hard the last 2 days trying to get the awards done. By the way, what you see tonight from what Meredith did with the In Memoriam is just, it's beautiful. It's so perfectly done. I can't. It's weird because I'm excited about playing it because it celebrates the lives, and you did such an amazing job with it. But I know I'm going to tear up. I teared up when I was watching it this morning. I was like, tonight's going to be emotional. It's 2 hours. A lot went into it. Meredith knows I was cooking a lot of the stuff yesterday, going back and forth, fighting with computers to try to get everything to upload, talking to people because for some reason in these last couple of awards, people didn't bother put up any previews. What they did was they just put their name in, left nothing for me to use to actually advertise it. So we had this whole thing. Of course, we're talking about the awards that are going on tonight, by the way. I'm going to let Meredith introduce herself, too, because I'm, like, running around right now like a chicken without a head this morning. And I'm going to let Meredith take over so I can finish doing something. I don't even know what I was doing, but I'll let her take over.
Good morning, everybody. So I am Meredith Lagrand. I am the associate editor over at Geek Insider, as well as the executive producer of the Geek Insider podcast. We live stream more often than not on Mondays and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. And I am also one of the founding members of Continuum Comics. We've got a lot of things that are happening right now. We've got an active Kickstarter. Last night, or rather this morning, when the sun was coming up and I was trying to get that thing ready for tonight, we were still at 99. I don't know if we broke the 100 mark, but that is really going to be exciting. Continuum Comics with an X at the end.com will get you right over to the Kickstarter. Throw some support behind it. I am exhausted. I cannot wait until tomorrow, but we have so much good stuff happening right now. I say let's just get to it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And you guys can see I put up the thing on top of here. I'm still trying to set up. We're waiting for C. It's one of those mornings, but I mean, I'd rather get it all out of the way now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And on top of everything else is daylight savings time. I'm like, you dirty bitch, give me back my hour.
And it's funny because I don't know about you, Meredith, but I can't sleep. That's it. I'm done. The minute I know they're taking the hour away, I'm paranoid. I get my hair not done yet.
I had no idea you were live, and I didn't know, it's like, thank goodness I wasn't like putting on my lipstick or like picking my nose or something like that. Normally we have a couple of minutes before we go live. We're like, hey, how's it going? You ready? Yeah, okay, I got my coffee. All right, let's go.
Look, I went vintage shirt for you guys today. Old school indie advocates, celebrating what was, because these awards will cover the last of what was indie advocates, covering things which became comic book advocates, and a lot of exciting stuff coming. It's been a crazy couple weeks, Meredith. It has been. If I ever tell you, Meredith, I want to run a campaign simultaneously with a 4-week awards ceremony that's live, by the way, to the very last minute, except for today, because of the events of today, 4 p.m. is the cutoff. This week, there will be no voting beyond 4 p.m. That is because this is a 2-hour show. We have a lot more going into it. It has to be a lot more quick-paced. I will not have time to make things in the background as I did last 2 weeks, even during Meredith's run, because she did the very first night. She kicked it off. I don't even know who's coming back to host tonight besides me and Chuck. I know Meredith said that she was going to come.
I will be here.
I don't know what part she's going to come in for. I'd love her to announce the In Memoriam section. It's a 2-hour show. We have Hall of Fame going into this one. We have the In Memoriam. As far as I'm aware, no one's done an In Memoriam for indie creators yet. It's hard because we know we're not going to get everyone. Last year was kind of a bad year, and a lot of people did pass away.
Well, you know what I did with that was I had a list of people. I went to several sources, so it's not going to be all indies, but people who you might have seen at a Comic-Con. And trust me, the list was huge, you guys. The list was huge. And so it was a matter of how do we cull this down and make sense of it and still touch on the international people. There are some international voices in there as well, who have unfortunately passed away last year. So we did want to touch on that. And quite honestly, it was a lot of work. And moving forward, I think it's a great idea to do this every year. And so I would say let's make sure that we remember all of our independent creators and the people who we would rub elbows with in the real world at a Comic-Con. Send me those names so we can remember them and tip our hat to them.
And you heard it here first. Meredith is now committed to doing this ongoing for the rest of her life. It'll be an honor when she's put in the in memoriam for all of her work. I was thinking about how depressing is that I thought about what we're starting with this in the Hall of Fame, which, by the way, after today won't be the Hall of Fame. You'll have to tune in to see what name was picked. We actually gave people the choice to pick a new name. And you can see it in the awards today. But after we started this, and of course it's our version of the Hall of Fame, and it always will be. And we're going to let C introduce himself in just a second. I see him getting set up right now. So we're not just doing this, but the in memoriam. We're celebrating creators. Next year it will not be fans to the last minute. We will give a couple of fan awards. I think, like cover of the year, I think should always be chosen by the fans. Non-technical awards, I would say, should be fans. Anything that you don't really have to know, like lettering, I would say you really need comic book creators to do it. Would you agree with that, C? Certain awards need to be done by your peers because they'll see the mistakes that the fans might not catch.
Oh, absolutely.
And that was the
people
one.
That have been in there for a while know what they're doing. Yeah, absolutely.
And that was the one mistake. Not mistake, but it was the one thing we saw a couple things happen this year where we were behind the scenes. We were like, I don't know about that. And if it wasn't fan choice, I think it would have been a little harder for certain people to have been. Oops, she left us. It would have been harder for people to get awards. So the fans got to choose this year, guys. This was a golden ticket moment for anyone who could get their fan base. It's not to say anyone who won an award this year didn't deserve it. There were just other people in some of those categories that were overlooked that were very qualified. And was shocking to us behind the scenes, like, oh my God, they must not have promoted this. They must have forgotten. Just remember, for those who don't know, this process started in November. I have been doing this, and next year we're going to be doing the same thing. However, we will be wrapping up after the Super Bowl. So the process is a lot less. It'll be a very early voting after, and I've said it, after Thanksgiving, after your turkey drunk, the next day we're going to start the awards, and we're going to start it with the two phases. The first phase will be what'll be the panel. And we're going to open the floor so you guys can talk about it during the summer. But this is basically how it's going to run because I have to run the show. And I'm sure Meredith and Chuck, if they return, want to see this to make it easier for us in the future. We'll have the fans will nominate people, and those nominations will be taken and given to panels. And panels will decide who the winner is, including have a wild card. The panelists will be able to choose a wild card entry who might not have gotten the fan sourcing. Because, I mean, let's be honest. We had a year where they were giving away things for free for it. Or just popularity. What if Meredith's book was fantastic? Should she not have beaten someone who's been around 10 years, who's had the opportunity to build a bigger fan base if her book was better quality, depending on the category? That's what we're trying to look at. Making sure that we can shine on the best. I mean, last year... And I have talked to, and I'm going to give, I can say this on air, and this will be not really news to many people. Me and Meredith talked about this. And I'll talk about it more on my own personal blog. I won't take a lot of time today. You can see I'm a little tired because I'm rambling. I felt I had to separate myself as a creator from what I write as a children's author, as an adult. And after talking to some people, realizing that some of the people who wanted me to hide who I was, it was about their personal prejudices and not about protecting kids. I have decided to drop the idea that I am a separate entity than Bobby Gregory. However, I will continue to publish under Bobby Gregory. It was causing some confusion to some friends. Some people thought I wasn't pulling it off. And then a whole nother group didn't realize I was one and the same, and they hadn't gotten the joke that was supposed to be online. In other words, it was causing confusion, and especially what we're doing at Continuum Comics going forward. You can see our beautiful little logo down there on the table. It's added now. We want to be transparent. I don't want anyone feel. I'm not the type of person who likes to hide things. Yes, there are things we can't talk about because they're in production. Yes, there are things behind the scenes that aren't fully worked out yet in contracts. Those are things we don't have a choice for. But I don't want to add confusion. I thought people would get the joke and come along with me on the joke, and the kids would get that like Santa Claus moment, but everyone knows it's me under the Santa outfit. But when it started to cause confusion, and I know co-anchors had problems with it, people on shows had problem with it, and they'd be like, fuck, I just said that. Oh, we forgot to play the... As I curse, I realized we had to play the warning. But yeah, so doing this whole process, the point I made in a really long Kevin Smith answer here, the reason I went about this, by the way, Kevin Smith, I'm not done trying to get you in the Hall of Fame. We got a like from him this year. A lot of people didn't know that. And we were like, does the heart mean we can induct him? But we felt it was better to get a full confirmation, because no one gets into our Hall of Fame without us talking to them if possible, or talking to the person running the estate, running the ongoing with Will Eisner. Obviously, we did that. Keith Thomas, who you're going to see a lot about during the awards tonight. He's being inducted posthumously. We've talked to CB Zane, who kept Into the Suck going. So, and of course, we've dedicated now the entire Enter the Continuum first issue in memory of him, because he was a cheerleader for comics. So all this. We have these awards, and I won an award for IP of the Year, and that really meant something. And it meant something not because the fans had voted for it, but because my peers had voted for it. And I went against what I thought were really good books, because while I wasn't part of the paneling to decide, the panelists who decided, and they never talked to each other. These are grown-ups. It turned out to be a 4-5 vote, if memory serves, because one person came in late and we didn't know if they would come. But then I realized we had 3 versus 1, so it didn't matter what their vote was. So in the end, it was the other person did come in time to actually register their vote, so it was a 4-1 vote. They picked Cat Dad. And there were other books that were better, and I don't think they did it to at all adhere to me, because, I mean, look, it's in Scoot now. And people were blown away by the quality of that book. And I'll be honest, it was intimidating for me as a creator to create after that. Because sometimes when you hit a home run, you're like afraid to go back to the bat. Because how do I follow up with this? And you realize not every project's the same. You get back into creating, you go, okay, everything's slightly different depending on what the project is. But I feel like I leveled up, and it was winning that award. And as much as I didn't think awards mattered, that moment mattered to me. And this year, of course, I famously won. And you've all let me down and not make me win more awards. This is the one year I could have won all the awards, and you didn't help me sweep people. Very disappointed. But I did win one that mattered to me, and that was making that video. And one of the worst problems with separating myself from Bobby Gregory was the disconnect I felt from the IP publicly. I never had that moment of celebration where, yeah, I am the one who did it. I'm the one who created it. I'm the one who got the partnership with Scout, of course, with my co-creators, Chuck and Raheel. All of us deserve to be there. Now, with the kids, I'll still dress up like Cat Dad at times, because I think it'll be funny for kids. If I do like a library signing or something for kids, I'll break out the character and I'll use the mask. But logistically, and also, I think people want to know who's behind the creator. And if you won't let your kid read a book because I write a book about fetish for adults that I'd never let your kid have, then you're a closed-minded person, and your kid needs my book even more because you're a bully. Because ultimately, and someone had said to me that I really look up to, said, are you ashamed of what you create? And I was like, never. I love every piece. They're my children. I don't dislike any of them. You know, even my ugly ones are still beautiful to me. And I realized that I had been not I don't want to say bamboozled or tricked, but I tried so hard to work with someone that I started to blur the line of my own comforts. And when I realized it, I instantly didn't want to do it anymore. I was like, you know, I was bending over backwards to appease a few, when ultimately more people had to be coming out to me like, Rob, I think you got to drop it. Some people thought it was funny. They were like, yeah, it's funny, but like, no. because especially right now in this industry, we want to see it's. I even had someone come up to me, and it's weird how these things happen all at once. Like there's like, what is it called? A mind. You know, everyone starts talking about it, and they're like, "No, you got
like a collective consciousness."
Yeah.
And they were
everybody's thinking it. Everybody's thinking it. They're just not saying it yet. So,
but a couple people started saying like it's not working or it's not worth it. Rob, step in front of it, because one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is when I created that kids book, and I'd forgotten this and only remembered it recently because I've been doing a lot of other things. I created the kids book to also prove that I wasn't the monster that everyone thought I was because I wrote a fetish book. That was important to me. We can be more than one thing. We are not one-sided creatures. We're gonna play the warning now after I talked about fetish on Sunday morning. Now's the perfect time to talk about that. We'll come back with some nude shots. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We're gonna do the warning. I'll be back in a minute. I'm gonna go check on Jax. Introduce yourself on the other side of it. We'll be right back after the warning. Warning and disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this live feed are those of the guests, speakers, and or hosts, and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs, official policies, ethics, or positions of the content providers, advertisers, additional hosts, and or guests, hosting sites, groups, or entities attached to this programming. Viewer discretion is advised.
All right. Good morning. I am there. Hey, good morning. I'm C. Michael Lanning, independent artist from done work for Silverline, and of course Continuum Comics that's coming out. Go check out that Kickstarter. We got Reapers, which I'm really excited about. Also, I'm a co-anchor on Weekended and on Geek Speak on Monday when we talk about comics. So check us out over there. And I am reeling from losing this hour last night. Oh my gosh. So you'll have to forgive me for coming in a little bit late. So
you are you're like an hour behind us. So yeah.
So
he got
the stuck part of this situation. Like when when we jump ahead, he doesn't win. Because now it'll just be later in his day. For me and you, it'll be cool. But for him, it'll be like, damn it, I lost that sleep. Because I still had to be on the show.
Yeah, it's as you can see, it was rough. So
yeah.
It's like, why do you take my hour? Let's go back another hour.
It's like hour. Daylight savings time became irrelevant with the invention of the light bulb. I'm just saying that.
Actually, that's not entirely true. That
because
is not...
they needed daylight savings time because of the farmers and the because of the farmers and the factory workers. Yeah. And so, but when the light bulb came around, it was just we weren't so dependent on daylight to get work done. You know?
But we forget about the children who are sitting on bus stops getting hit every year because it's too dark.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And that does actually happen, and daylight savings actually does benefit them. Not necessarily right now because it's darker in the morning. We have to find a way to protect our children with this. I'm personally okay getting rid of it. I just think that, I don't know, we put light bulbs where there are kids in bus stops. Yeah. But, politics. Mm-hmm. That's just it. Like, why wouldn't you put it there? Oh, who's going to pay for that? Really? It's a kid's life. I don't think you ever. The words "who's going to pay for it" should never come up if it's going to be something saving a kid's life. I'm looking at you, Flint, Michigan. But, one of the things that me, Meredith, and I know C is definitely this type of person, we just want to be genuine. Ooh, sorry, I'm not on camera. We just want to be genuine creators. And that's all we want to do. Yeah. We just want to create. And that's kind of the purpose of the awards that we're doing and Continuum Comics. And the thing that we just came out with, C, is beautiful. Hey, Meredith.
Yeah.
Now watch. There's gonna be a lot of excuses here. I stayed up all night. I did this beautiful in memoriam thing. Rob, I didn't have time to make another video to challenge you.
What are you doing? What are you doing to me?
Uh-oh.
And wait, there's more.
Wait.
But wait, there's more coming to you from Continuum Comics in this limited edition. First issue of the Continuum. Enter the Continuum. We have added more stories. So here they are. A crossover. A monster of a cosplay. Into the Suck, Barbara Unleashed, Mandy the Cosplaying Detective, all coming together to dedicate a story to the creator of Into the Suck, Keith Thomas, and we're happy to announce that the entire first issue of the Continuum, Enter the Continuum, is now dedicated in honor of Keith Thomas. Also in this book, we have By the Sword. By the Sword is a story about an unwitting treasure hunter who stirs a ghost in the past when he finds a lost artifact in the marshes. And we're pretty excited about this one. We're introducing Karma into the book. Karma! Every deed has a reward or punishment. Karma's job is to make sure you get what you deserve. That's all now in the Continuum. Back it today and look at the library pack. For $1, you will be rewarded greatly. I will accept my award now. Just admit it, you've lost.
Well,
Okay, all right. Until the next round, my friend. Until the next round. I need a day, all right? One day where I'm not dealing with anything else.
I had 15
and your
minutes,
ass is
Meredith.
mine.
I had 15 minutes
will
before
own
the
you.
show. 15 minutes before the show. Took my dice, rolled, and I hit the whammy. I'm all good. It's good. It's gold. No, that's going to be part of the awards because the first part of the trailer, of course, that you guys have seen, and maybe we'll play it a little later. It only introduced a couple of the stories because we had to scramble this week to change some things, and we did it. No complaints, no whining, no bitching. It happened, and it was better. By the time we were done, we stepped back and looked at this book. We got to see in the book twice with his art. How could we lose there? There are now 2 stories from Meredith. We're even talking about adding even more content. We're not done yet.
We're not done.
I
didn't know if you wanted to tease that. I am very excited about that. Yeah.
I want. If you want to talk about it, it's more yours. Yesterday you said you wanted control of it, so I handed over the reins. It's now your section of the Continuum.
Well, if you don't mind me talking about it, and okay, so here we go. Because we're developing this, and we had been talking about it before. This is not a brand new idea. In fact, we had seen this in comic book school, where they had comic books, but they also had some flash fiction and poetry. And we're like, why not invite the writers and the poets to come into this and become a part of the group? They are already orbiting our world and participating, and they go to these events and inviting the writers into this. So I asked Rob, I'm like, is there room to expand this by a couple of pages? Let's start with 1 or 2 or 4, depending on the layout, of whether or not we can add poetry or maybe a little piece of flash fiction, get some maybe original art, maybe try to do a spread or something like that. I've got a lot of ideas in my head, but right now I'm looking for poets. I'm looking for a little bit of poetry so that we can lay it out really nicely and be in the Continuum. This issue, why not start something new? We're already starting something new. Let's add to it. I'm really excited about it. In fact, and the only reason why I'm not putting in a story right now is because I've already got 2 in there with art. And I'm like, if nobody else jumps on board, guess what? I've got something that I can put in there. And I do have somebody. Already.
It won't be hard to get flash fiction. One of the reasons we were doing this also is because I'm a big fan of the history of comics. A lot of people might not know this. Originally, Timely, even EC Comics, back when they weren't what you think they were, because EC started off as a regular publication before they went fully underground, used to put in what they would call reviews. They wouldn't even call it flash fiction. They would call it like essay stories, stuff like that. 2 pages. The reason they did this is they were able to mail it through the mail as a periodical, just having that minimum requirement. So it's a nod to the past of comics as well, because Continuum actually remembers that. Don't take this the wrong way, see? And I'm not sure you will, but I'm not hitting on you. But you're actually looking kind of dapper today. And we did today when I was redoing our banner here. You can see co-hosted by Meredith, co-hosted by me, the Underground Devil. We didn't see. There's no picture of you here yet because I keep asking you for a picture, and I'm waiting. So I think that's going to be the new picture. I like that's like an intense, like here I come.
It's so intense.
Hey, now wait a minute. Now you've got my mugshot from Weekended now.
You know what? Your mugshot, though. I mean, seriously, it looks like a mugshot because it looks like your head is shaved. Right now, we can see a little bit of hair.
Yeah, no.
You know, but I have a nicer screenshot for you, Rob, where he's smiling.
Oh no.
I like the intense. I like that. The intensity of that. That's what I want. Like he looks like
beware the screenshot.
He looks like he's dead serious about everything now. Like he's the one who's going to come to the show and be like, "That's not a funny joke. Don't be."
No, just doesn't work.
I am laughing.
Stop with the Bobby shit, asshole. We all know who you are.
I'm gonna tell you, to be honest with you, I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad to hear that because, in all honesty, for somebody who, as you are, and you're especially open about the fetish community and stuff like that, I think it's real important for people to know that you wrote Cat Dad and Supermom. I think it's real important for that, and I'm glad to see that that's being dropped. To be honest with you, I get why, but I think this benefits you more in the long run.
Yeah,
and what you believe in. So
yeah.
And I talked with my partners about it because I didn't want to change anything. Because when you have partners, and that's what Meredith is, she's not a founder, she's a partner of Continuum Comics. And your partners are affected by your decisions. So before I make any big decision, I like to have them in a room and I like to have that discussion. This is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm going to be doing. I'm not making a decision without having this conversation. I have felt that. People making decisions without consulting me and going, here, now this is your problem. And I don't ever want to do that to anyone else. I want to make sure that my partners, and maybe we'll disagree about what I'm doing, and I'll just have to be like, look, I have to do this, and you guys either can support me or not publicly. I don't care. I'm doing this. Luckily, I had nothing but support with this. Everyone kind of felt like, and when I explained myself, a lot of people in the room felt like, oh, God, I can see why you did that and you shouldn't have been made to feel that way. Because sometimes when you're a creator, people start whispering in your ear and you don't realize who the whisperers are until you look at it and you go, wait a minute, why am I listening? And you suddenly realize that I have to do this for me. I have to be who I am. Damn the results. It's more important I be genuine. And that's just, this last year has taught me that I can't be anyone but me. Yeah. And anyone who doesn't want to accept me for who I am doesn't have to be around me, doesn't have to be in my orbit. And I'm not someone who's so important that you have to subscribe to the things I say. I'm not a president. I don't run a government, but I'm be damned if I'm bowing. I don't think I bowed, but I definitely kind of slowed down who I was. And I'm not going to blame anyone but myself because I allowed it to happen. I took bad advice and I tried something. And when I saw it wasn't working, because I like to pivot. I like to be a person who sees the mistake and goes, okay, we tried it. Time to get on.
I'm going to say, I looked at it more like a pilot thing. We, throughout this past year, up till now, we've tried so many things. We've tried different shows. We've tried different combinations with people, different things as far as pivoting and doing what we do, and really stepping up to the plate with the things that we're good at. And so, with Cat Dad and Supermom going to Scout and then making sure that wasn't affected by what you were doing with Barbara, which I've been a huge fan of and an advocate for. I just wanted to say, you know what, it's okay to be you because it came out of you. And for me, it's one of those things where if people are looking at you and saying, what is the body of your work? You can't separate that out no matter what. What you can do is be responsible at a con table or what you're selling to or who you're selling to. And that's it, because at the end of the day, I don't want to be restricted by the content that I create because of somebody else's misconception.
Right.
Or even them just not liking it. Good.
Well, look, I look at Roald Dahl. Roald Dahl, Willie, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and so on. He had adult books too that were not meant for children. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he published in a different name either. I think he still was under Roald Dahl. But you understand that there are certain books that are for adults. There are certain books that are for children. And we both have that. And if we say that we don't have those two sides, we don't have that innocence and that, I don't want to say guilty because that's not the right word, but you know what I mean? If you don't have those two sides, you're lying to yourself. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it.
I will keep the Bobby Gregory Facebook profile cleaner than and it won't easily connect to me because kids are curious by nature. By the way, Bobby Gregory is actually my name for those who don't get it. Robert is actually my name. My dad, the only person in my life, used to call me Bobby. So I always wanted to go under Bobby. Originally, I put it under Robert Gregory just to make it a little more obvious to people. But when I was doing this rebranding with Scoot, I asked him, can I go under Bobby Gregory as a nod to my dad? As almost this dedication that everything this comes from you raising me to be a good person, so that those are my real names, like I'm not trying to hide who I am. I thought I made it very obvious, but the minute I heard I was creating even the slightest bit of confusion and people asking me when I'm going to interview myself, and you start thinking about it, and it sounds funny because of course I'm a huge wrestling fan and I've seen these people be able to pull off these characters.
Yeah.
But I'm not in a position where I'm in a wrestling ring where people can always understand the difference. Like the other night when we did back applause, I called myself the Indie Devil, and people got that I was going to be a little bit more mischievous because there was that side of me. Well, the Bobby Gregory thing people didn't get because it was too much of a disconnect. And it was that, as the Indie Devil, I don't say I'm not me. I'm just me with the volume turned up. So, it's like everything everyone's saying in this room. You get to a point, you try something, you do. Of course, I want to protect children. I don't want any child reading Barbara Unleashed. That's a no-duh moment for me.
No.
That doesn't mean I don't necessarily think a teenager who's sexual, because let's be honest, teenagers are sexual. There does need to be safety, human sexuality for them, and there are teenagers who are going to be experimenting with sexuality. I just don't know how to get there and how to do it in a legal way. That's going to be a conversation probably with not just a lawyer, because of course a lawyer is there, but maybe one day I'll have enough of a pull where I can call some parents of some teenagers and ask them, how would you want this handled? Obviously, you can't have nudity. You can't have too much sexual stuff. But the BDSM survey can be converted into a tool for a teenager and even maybe expanded to explain some things. So like how to properly protect yourself from an STD is not something we really talked about. That'd be something I'd be willing to put into it. So, and it's funny because I felt like doing what I did almost cut me off from part of who I was. And I can't explain it to you any differently than that. It felt like, not that you're being fake as much as you're not being yourself, because there's that side of you can't talk about anymore. And it hurt every time. Honestly, it hurt to not admit that was me and to try to act like I was demoted to the guy who was just an advocate for it. And I'm not picking on anyone who's an advocate, but when you're pouring part of yourself into it, that's a downgrade.
Yeah.
That is, this is about my kid who's been diagnosed as autistic. Like, even the fact that someone might think I would let someone else play in that world is insanity. Like, I own the IP, even through Scout. The IP is still mine. They don't snap your IP away. It's not how it works. So I'm still the creator of it. And you have to be genuine. And that's for Sunday COMiX Brunch going forward too. So you guys know we're going to limit ourselves to 90 minutes from now on, maybe an hour. Today's probably maybe an hour. Well, Meredith has to leave at an hour mark. We'll see where C is. Maybe me and C will finish off for half an hour. But we're going to do 90 minutes, and it's going to be more of a roundtable from now on. We're not going to necessarily focus on the news, but we might focus on the news. We want this to be a moment where we just sit around and talk about what's coming up and what's already passed. And one of the things that's coming up, I know C's going to be excited about this Wednesday. It's Wednesday, right?
Wednesday.
Cut.
Oh, is it Wednesday? I know. I saw it was. I think it's Thursday. Is it Thursday?
Is it Thursday? It's one of those days this week.
Look, I went and watched The Dark Knight last night. Well, half of it because I didn't stay up that long. But and they, of course, they advertised it, and it was like just a flash, and I think it said Thursday. I said, "Wait, is it Thursday? What is it?" It just flashed when it came out. It's like, why don't you slow down a minute?
You know how many times I watched Tom and Jerry this week just to hope that I found the Snyder Cut? I'm like, come on, Tom and Jerry.
No, see, go watch The Dark Knight.
Although I will say Tom and Jerry is awesome. If you haven't seen it yet, they don't talk. I hated that movie where they talk.
Oh, golly, I remember that. Yes. That's like, wait, you can talk? No, you can't. Stop.
Yeah, please don't ever talk again. So it was definitely nice to see. Because I grew up with the Stooges. Like, I'm going to let Jax see the Stooges. Jax has learned to play fight. So now he understands not to hurt anyone.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing. You hear him in the background; he's being all excited.
I think every young adult male, at least I can't, and of course I can't speak for females, go through a Three Stooges stage.
Yeah,
I think it's all everybody that I know has at one point in time in their life liked to watch the Three Stooges. I did, and of course you're displaced because of generations and generations, but it's such a staying power the Three Stooges have had. It's crazy.
you know what it is? We don't grow out of it. There's just not new content.
Yeah,
Like the Twilight Zone. Like everyone watches. Every New Year's Eve. I'm not a huge fan of going out New Year's Eve. I feel it's more like a time to cause trouble or get drunk, and I'm not a big drinker. I left that up to my teenage years. So I'm not one who likes to drink it. I don't drink at all. Actually, I've been sober because alcoholism runs in my family, and I don't talk about it, but I'm definitely an alcoholic. I am the person who can't stop drinking. I will drink, throw up, drink again. Like it's bad type shit. So I just stopped drinking. And I quit smoking too. The same way, just cold cut. I'll tell you, smoking's worse. Alcohol is bad, but smoking is like it's like the devil leaving you because it grabs your soul.
Oh, look,
you actually cough up black stuff. Like I mean, come on, you're possessed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Too, if you guys can't get a PRESHOW exercise, you're freaking smoking, man. I'm telling you.
I miss smoking. I still miss smoking.
I don't miss it. I don't miss the smell or taking it into the lungs. Right. I miss the activities that smoking used to bring, like sitting around with your friends smoking outside.
Yeah, something to do with your hands. Oh, especially during the winter. That
was it. Yeah, the worst part for me when I quit, because I quit cold turkey, was the hand to mouth motion. You know, just doing this all the time, any opportunity. And when that went away, and then it would be like going like this, and then it's like, okay, fixing my glasses. You didn't see that. And then when I wore contacts, I didn't have any of it, so it was just like this to this to this. It was stupid.
I don't know if you guys have heard this story, but I'll tell you what made me quit smoking. I was at a point in my life, I was about to turn 30, and I was like, do I want to be a smoker at 30? Like you start thinking, there's heart disease in my family. My sister, my older sister especially, been writing me to quit. I started smoking to be a rebellious little dick. Well, I taught everyone a lesson by my huge smoking bill that I had. Because I was a bad 2 packs a day at a certain point in my life. 2 packs Marlboro Reds or Marlboro 100s, because get the beer ones. Why not? And I would sometimes smoke 2 at the same time, because sometimes the only smokers will understand this. Your cigarette gets too hot. So having 2 when you're stressed allows neither one to get ever too hot from dragging on it too much.
Oh, that's
what that was.
You know, when my parents owned a bar, I had a cigarette at the bar, I had a cigarette at the pool table, I had a cigarette by the door. I had like 3 lit at the same time, and as I was walking, because I was bartending, I knew which ones were my cigarette.
So what wound up happening is this one day I'm sitting on the stairs with my new little puppy Roxy, who's actually. This tattoo is in honor of her because she sadly had to be put down a few years ago. She had really bad hips. But this is the first time I raised a puppy, and she was like the first chance to me being a father. And I remember she loved to follow me around. She was my shadow, would sit with me all the time. If at the time my ex, now Jax's mother, wasn't home, she was always with us. She was the type of dog with a shadow. So I'm sitting there smoking near the steps down there, because we rented the apartment. We could smoke upstairs, but we made the decision not to smoke in the house so it wouldn't smell like a smoker's house. So I'm sitting downstairs, because this is in New York, so there's 2 floors. And I'm just smoking. All of a sudden, little girl puts up her nose, wants to know what I'm doing, right? She's curious. What's this? And I heard this little puppy. She was no more than like 3 or 4 months old now. Little tiny, beautiful dog. Just absolutely beautiful. She coughs. She inhales some smoke and she coughs. And suddenly it just dawns on me, I could give this poor dog cancer from just being around me. This dog could have less of a life because I am influencing her. And then suddenly I started to think about how I might be doing this to everyone in the world. And I can't do this to this dog. I can't do this to anyone else. Even my ex at the point was hanging around me. And I know her family smoked, but I was like, I'm endangering everyone around me. I just quit that day. And I didn't tell anyone for 2 weeks. Not even my ex noticed I had quit smoking, which, considering how irritable I was for 2 weeks, you figure a lot of people would have noticed. So literally someone turned around and said to me at work after 2 weeks, like, why don't you just go have a cigarette, Rob? And I was like, say fucking quit. That was like the first time I talked about it, and everyone turned around because I was such a big smoker, and everyone was like, holy shit, he hasn't been smoking. And then they tried to buy me packs of cigarettes for a couple of days to calm me down. Because it did take a while. Having ADHD, I didn't realize how much I was self-medicating with it. I started having anxiety attacks. I was working faster than anyone else because the ADHD was full blast once again. So whenever I used to get anxious, it'd be like...
Right? My husband tried to quit. When my husband tried to quit, and he tried to quit because of monetary reasons, and that will never ever work. You have to feel it in your heart and in your head that you are going to quit. And he's like, "No, I'm going to quit." And again, working in the bar and restaurant business, family owned and stuff like that, we had the little drink straws, right? So he's sitting there and he's chewing like this, and half of it was gone. I'm like, wait a minute, what's better for you, the cigarette or eating plastic all day?
Depends where it's made. If it's in China,
Right.
If it's made in China, you're better off smoking. That lead will kill you so quickly.
Right?
What's with China? They put lead. They just sprinkle lead on shit. Oh yeah, get some lead.
Get some pasta.
Don't let the kids eat the crayons.
You know what this 8-pipe Parmesan needs? A little lead. That's what it needs.
Right?
China would not poison dogs, considering what they do with dogs.
Oh no, he went there.
The views and opinions expressed.
I'm gonna get an email like a Dr. Seuss notice. Excuse me, sir.
Rob Anderson, report to HR.
You know China doesn't eat that? No, I don't, because all I know is I saw some crazy people eating freaking bats and
Right?
went to shit the next week.
Whoa.
So I don't know. I don't know, people. Don't eat weird shit. Let's just make a rule from now on. Let's stop eating weird shit.
As the Korean in the room, we do eat weird shit. Okay. In fact, I had sent Nita something for a reaction video. Oh, I got the reaction video. I sent her some dried squid, and even the cat gagged.
Why could you not find a cow? They're slow. They're easy to keep up on. They don't even run.
Good stuff. Love it.
Squid will fight you. I don't eat anything that fights back. That's like a golden rule. I will not eat anything that fights back.
Or if it runs off your plate. Yeah.
You guys, I've seen people, I don't know if you guys do it, but I've seen people eat like live shit where it gets in their throat and they fucking die because it was alive.
Pops knows. Okay, so Reaper's one, Squid one. All right, yeah.
I'm telling you, man, like fire. I don't know if you all heard about this wonderful thing. It's called fire. Cook your damn food. Shit, I cook vegetables and fucking fruits if I could, right next to a steak. Throw that right near a steak. Someone told me once, funny story. Someone turns around to me and goes, "Do you know you're killing an animal to eat?" I'm like, "What are you eating?" Like, I eat only fresh fruits and vegetables. I was like, "So those aren't alive?" She's like, "It's not the same. They don't have feelings." I was like, "Then why do studies say when you talk to them, they grow better?"
Oh.
You monster! You're killing lettuce. You never look at lettuce again. Look at me. I look at it this way. When I'm eating a cow, I'm also getting a leather jacket. You're welcome, America. That's actually capitalism in action. There's not one part of that cow not getting used. We all know that when we get fruits and vegetables, we're throwing shit away. Not a fucking cow.
Oh man, I was somewhere yesterday that it was a Church's Chicken down here. They were serving gizzards. I said, "Really, gizzards?"
I actually grew up with gizzards being popular in my house.
It's a thing down here. I just think at a fast food restaurant, you don't really go to McDonald's and you have McGizzards. You know what I'm saying?
No, I had a friend of mine who the one time I was making gizzards, and she said, "You eat that?" She's like, "I thought people just gave it to their cat."
So gizzards. Explain what gizzards are for those at home who are like, because that's not really a term in American cuisine.
Yeah, please explain what gizzards are, because I still don't know what they are. It's just like
gizzards. It is like the innards. It's like the kidney. It's the liver, the heart.
That's right, kids. Yeah. That's right. And you know that awesome steak sauce? I'm going to ruin things for you right now.
Oh, no.
Gonna be
Let's talk about peanut butter cups after that. Ruin that for
the nice juice
listeners.
that pours out of the steak. You vampire son of a bitches. That's blood.
Look, go ahead and really ruin what jelly beans. That's what that is.
Or gummy bears.
Vegan.
Yo-
Here's my jelly.
Hey, gummy bears. You vegan little people out there.
Right?
Oh,
Hey, that's what I meant. Maybe it's gummy bears. That's what I think of.
no, jelly beans too. So I
Jelly
think
beans?
some of the
Jello?
jelly, like the
Gelatin?
wax, I think
Yeah,
has some.
maybe.
You don't
something.
understand how many meat products go into everything that you eat, people. When you're eating things like chicken, and you're like, oh well, a chicken's okay because we can safely do chickens, and I only eat the ones that die, which I would never eat an animal that died. I want it killed. For the record, I want it killed.
Yeah.
And do I care how you kill it? Send me the email. I don't give a shit. I give a shit about how it tastes. Fuck it. I mean, like when a fucking wolf comes to kill me in the middle of the fucking forest, if I ever get stuck, or a fucking bear finds me, you think they're gonna stop and go, let me just check to see how I'm gonna. Excuse me, sir. I'm gonna kill you nicely. How could I kill you I could snap your neck if you just stand still? I'm gonna be like, no.
But with that, you know, I don't know how true it is, and they tell you to play dead if you see a bear, and the bear will walk away. The bear doesn't even want to eat something that's just died on its own. So
I ain't playing dead. That's bullshit. That's the people who tell you that are camping with you. Don't forget that.
It's the different types of bears. Different types of bears have different tastes. All right, some of them you have to like stand up and put your arms out and be like bigger, and they don't like bigger prey.
Did you see that Red Bull commercial with I think they're the antelopes, where they're talking about how the lions in the prairie grass, and he's like, I'm going to take some Red Bull and I'll have wings. He's like, oh, you're not going to be faster than the lion. He's like, I don't have to be faster than the lion, just faster than you. Those are the same people who are telling you, if you see a bear, just roll up and play dead, because they want the bear to stop at you. They're looking at you like your new name's Bite Size.
I've said that about the zombie apocalypse. Okay, I said I only have to be faster than the slowest runner.
Tripping.
That's it. I'm tripping them.
Look, in 2020, we learned one thing: people only care about themselves. For the most part, the general masses only care about themselves. And I know everyone's going to be like, Rob, you can't say that about masks. You know, that's my freedom. Which, sure. But I'm not even going to go there. I'm talking about toilet paper, you motherfuckers. You savage bastards. You bought so much toilet paper, I hope you have constant irritable bowel syndrome the rest of your life. That showed me. I'm ruined. I'm ruined after the toilet paper fiasco. I understood the gas after Sandy. We all had to drive. But I don't want to wipe my ass with my hand. You're never going to smell off. Anyone who's changed a diaper has been in the middle of their day gone like this and be like, oh, shit. It's still there. Oh, do I have to disinfect my nose?
But did anybody ever figure out why the toilet paper? Why the toilet paper? I don't think was COVID giving you the runs. I mean, really.
Oh, one of the original symptoms was, and this is media for you. This is God's honest truth. One of the things was to get 6 weeks of toilet paper because they were talking about us going into quarantine. By the way, the average person, 6 weeks of toilet paper would be the regular pack. One pack. That's 6 weeks, kids. Unless you're see a doctor. If you're going through more than one of those packs, that's it. Well, if you go through a Costco pack in 6 weeks and you're not a family of 15, seek medical care. One roll of toilet paper should last you a week, kids. Think about it. So you get these motherfuckers and all of them had fucking pickup trucks down here. I don't know about where you were. But it seemed like the idiots with the pickup trucks were the same idiots getting all the toilet paper. Yeah. I'm just going to get it from me and all my buddies like Billy Bob and Bob Billy and Bobby Bob and Bobby Dude and Doody Dude.
Oh, you know what's funny is we had, since it's been getting warmer here, a lot of people are having their yard sales and the garage sales and stuff like that. And one neighbor has a wall of toilet paper and hand sanitizer. And so I'm like, oh, you're one of those assholes. Okay.
I hope you walked by and pointed and went, dick.
Well, they right at the beginning of this, I don't know if y'all remember, they busted somebody for having hoarding all that hand sanitizer and was selling it on eBay and stuff.
Yeah.
Really, and that's what you find out. People care about themselves when they come in that mass general knowledge or whatever. So, I mean, really, come on.
And to answer your question, the run on the toilet paper it started when people started reporting there were shortages. You can't say that you're just telling people now, hey, there's something really serious. We don't know what's going to happen. Hundreds of thousands of Americans can die. By the way, we're running out of toilet paper. What do you think is going to happen now?
Right.
What do you think the average consumer? Because that's what caused it. But you had already had these pieces of shit. And yes, I'm sorry if you're watching the show and you bought and I'm talking 10, like the obscene amount. Because even 4 of those, I use toilet paper. I understand the mechanics of this. We buy 2 of those Costco packs a year for 3 people. So if you're a family of 4 or 5, you need about 6. Mm-hmm. I can understand someone who got 6 cases, especially if you have family, you do it like that. We're not talking about those people. Like Meredith said, we're talking about the wall motherfuckers. The guy who got 5 carts of toilet paper because they wanted to be funny. There were people out there bragging and posting about how much toilet paper they had. I remember showing a roll of toilet paper, I've got the golden grail.
Yeah.
I was really worried about shitting in my hand, to shower after every poop. I was actually reading on things that would make my shit less wet, so it came out like dry coal. Because I was getting that afraid of it. How do I never have diarrhea?
Wow.
Google.
I never even would have thought of that. I'm impressed.
Oh, I've thought about the hose. I was just like, what do I have to do to hose myself down? The
sale of bidets went up.
Right?
And this is not a lie. I remember
I am not using a newspaper on my butt, Marvy.
I remember Meredith was like, I really can't find toilet. It got dire with Meredith at one point. And I was like, we have down here. I was going to ship her toilet paper in America. The same people who turned around and said, we're not communists, we're never going to have to wait in line for toilet paper, have turned over in their grave. And no one has been able to explain to me why they couldn't just make more toilet paper. Yet all their stocks went up. I'm like, it's toilet paper. How complicated could this really fuck? You're telling me there's not a warehouse of toilet paper? I know you companies. And it turns out most companies will do 3 months of one product, 3 months of another product, 3 months of another product throughout their calendar year. So happens, toilet paper was 6 months out. And these companies never changed. They just did a little bit on the side. They didn't come in quick. And I remember it was the threat of the then President Trump saying that he was going to nationalize some of the companies, which you can do during times of great hardships. Suddenly there was toilet paper back on the shelves within 2 weeks. So it just tells you that, again, the human nature and even the corporate nature of the world we live in, I was shitting in fear.
One of the mass toilet paper producers was GP. And right before the pandemic hit, I had a few friends, we have a plant down here, and I had a few friends that worked over there. There's a massive layoff, in the thousands, right before this pandemic hit. So they seemed like, they kind of weighed off of everything. A lot of it had to do with paper. And so I guess, because of the digital age, and they laid off a whole bunch of them. So they had this big layoff, and the next thing you know, COVID hits, and it's like, oh, crap, literally. So...
Mm-hmm.
You know what pisses me off about that, though? Because those companies always worry about still making their profit margins. Mm-hmm. It's disgusting. You're going to lay off 1,000 people and worry about your profits. Whatever happened to making money during the lean years and not worrying about profits? Just surviving the lean years, changing up, retooling. We need that American initiative back. We need to stop being this America that lives for profits. That's part of our problem. I'm a living documentation of corporate greed from Liberty Mutual, who was in charge of my workman's comp thing, doing things that were illegal, mind you, during my case, sending a nurse in to pressure me to go back to work when I kept going back to work because of the pressure of going back to work. I kept making myself worse. And then in the end, when I was completely fucked up, everyone just shrugs their shoulders. We're treating humans like that in America. That's one thing we have to change. I don't care what side you are on it. No human being should go through what I went through or go through layoffs so a company can post profits.
And that was one thing about those layoffs, too. It wasn't just the fact that they didn't have enough stuff. They had management coming in there, and they felt that they were paying the workers too much money. So they wanted to lay off all the people who were making money because you can't really dock their pay and hire people for about $10 less than what they were paying everybody else. So yeah, it was definitely about profits.
Yeah, and then we saw all this come out, and I hope we make changes. But right now, I mean, the future's so weird now. We're at this point where we've seen so much ugly. We've seen the truth of really how we are, and it's like no one wants to make a difference. All we care about is a stimulus check right now. And I hope that we get beyond just worrying about a stimulus check, because we have to be in a world that we take care of each other. I do hope that we start to do that. I know Meredith might have to leave in a few minutes, but
yeah.
I really do hope we get to a better place. We're giving out awards to creators who never stopped creating in 2020, had the courage to continue creating, not knowing what was ahead of us, and that says something about creators. Meredith, do you want to tell them where you're going to be? Are you guys going live? Is this a pre-recorded one?
Hold on a second here. I am just getting the link. Go ahead, keep talking, and I'll let you know in just a second here.
But I mean, as someone who I know you've been around during this last year, because we're celebrating 1 year later. Not only the awards, but we made it a full year. Are you more would you say you're more optimistic? Because someone asked me that and I didn't know. I'm more optimistic for me. I don't know if I'm more optimistic for the world, because I think I grew as a person over the last year, leaps and bounds. But I don't know if the world around me has changed or gotten worse. What do you think?
Golly, I don't. It's really hard to tell, honestly. I don't know if y'all remember, there was a minister, and I'm going to lead into this one. There was a minister that from here that refused to do the social distancing or anything else like that, and he was arrested. He was on Dr. Phil and all that other nonsense here, and excuse me. And so he hasn't really changed his attitude any since this started. For me, I'm more optimistic about especially our business as far as comics are concerned. You see it come up more. People are discovering it more because they're tired of looking at a TV screen all day. I mean, there's only so much Netflix you can watch. Let's be honest. I mean, really. So yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a yes and no question. You can't just say yes, I'm more optimistic. No, I'm more optimistic about some things, but kind of pessimistic about others. So I'm just going to make comics, man.
And I do have to get out of here. It is going to be live with Just Joshing, and that is Joshua Pantalaresco, and he is also going to be posting that on his YouTube channel as well. And we're going to be talking about Enter the Continuum with Continuum Comics. So I am going to be out of here, you guys, and hopping on to another stream. I hope that you enjoy Sunday Comics Brunch. Make sure that you get back here at 6 o'clock. Yes. Don't forget that your clocks have moved ahead. So
that's 5 Central.
Don't miss it. Don't miss it. All right, you guys, I'm out of here. Meredith Lagrand is out.
So are we in EST now or ETD? I'm so confused. I don't remember. Like now you have to change like the E. I didn't realize this for a long time. I was just using EST or ETD because I didn't realize that they actually had a significance. I was like, I see people using this shit. I'm just gonna slap it on here. The Meredith turns around. She's like, that's a different in year. I was like, I never cared.
There's certain parts of this country that don't even observe
Arizona.
Yeah. And so what do you do? So am I 2 hours behind Arizona? Am I an hour ahead of Arizona? I don't know, because I can look at Central and I can go east. Okay, East time, I know I'm an hour behind the East Coast. I know I'm 2 hours behind the Pacific Coast. God only knows how far I'm behind Arizona. So I don't even know how to keep that up.
Florida came this close to doing it. It turned out it was the airports that were going to be a problem.
Yeah, I heard that.
It was the fact we would be off the airports, and it would seem during certain times of the year the trip would be longer and certain times shorter than it really was, because we'd be we'd be out of sync somehow and with different areas or something. It was weird.
Well, I mean, I've already adjusted one way. Just do it again. Senator, Marco Rubio has recently put in to end it, I think, across the country once again. And I doubt that will come to fruition. I think we do it more as tradition than anything now.
No, you know what's horrible? Tomorrow, more people will have heart attacks than any other day throughout the entire year. Tomorrow is the most plague-filled heart attack day. And that is because we're abruptly changing our thing. Like, if you wanted to do this humanely, we should do it in half-an-hour increments.
Yeah, I can see that.
But it would throw everyone off because you need to simplify things for the public. I don't know. I've heard back and forth. To be honest, I think it's weird that we just don't have a time. Like, the planet doesn't observe a change. It just keeps happening. And if anything, our 24-hour day isn't right because every so often we have to add an extra second. We're out of sync. They're talking about how we might have to add an eventual day to reset ourselves to be in the right place in 200 years.
Right. Yeah. Well, see, of course, you also have your leap year, so you have an extra day every 4 years anyway. And on the Jewish calendar, I think like every 7 years there's an extra month in there.
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken. So there's a whole bunch of time variations that people adjust to, but after a while, after you lose an hour of sleep, I feel bad for the person that got off at 10 o'clock last night, went home and has to be back at work at 8 o'clock this morning.
I've had those shifts.
Yeah.
I've been not 10 o'clock, but like had to stay late. We were there till midnight. I have to be back at 8. So, you don't get home until 12:31. You have to eat, shower. And by the time you're at bed, it's like 1:30 if you're lucky after being stuck there. And then you're back up at 7 if you're lucky, if you can get everything to and work. I used to be able to get to work within 30 minutes of waking up. I was lucky enough to be where I could just roll out of bed, but I probably shouldn't have been driving half of those times.
Right.
You get in the car, you're a zombie. I don't know. People who are smarter than me think we should keep it. People who are smarter than me think we should get rid of it. All I know is I'm affected by it. Because now I have a kid whose internal clock now has to be changed. He's autistic, so schedules are huge with him.
Oh, yes.
He never does well during these changes. He's going, luckily, a godsend is that this week we're on the holiday. Yeah. And the holiday week for us, it's not holiday, it's just spring break, right? But we don't have school all week.
Oh, okay.
So he doesn't have to feel it like he did last year. Last year, he had to go to school the next day. Oh, it was rough.
Well, see, that's the thing about when my kids were younger and they had a bedtime of say 8 o'clock at night, and they're going to bed, half the year. It's dark. But then when you do this, it's still light out at 8 o'clock, so they're going to bed while it's still daytime. Why am I going to bed? It's still daytime outside. They didn't understand that. So that was always a struggle.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it's just that. We haven't talked about the awards at all today, which is okay. Honestly, because it's been such a big deal. You guys know we've talked about it for weeks now. It's our last night, though. I'm pretty excited that it's over. I'll never do 4 weeks again. Oh my God.
So I can't keep up. What categories are you doing tonight?
We're going to talk about them all tonight.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have a full recap. Yeah, we're going to do a recap. The new awards will be creation. We have the Hall of Fame tonight, which I think we talked about it. You've been in the room where I don't want to be Hall of Fame anymore. And because less people watch this last half an hour, I'm going to give them the thing. It looks like Hall of Creator will take over, which how cool is Hall of Creators?
I think it sounds awesome. I think Mike Binston said it makes it ours.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it should be ours. So, because the downside to calling it a Hall of Fame, which was good to start it that way, and I always wanted to rename it. I wanted people to understand what we were aiming for. But not everyone who's going to wind up in this Hall of Fame will be famous, because that's not how comics work. Comics aren't always about fame. It's about what you did to make the pile higher.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And, we all can do what we can do. Let's do some comments, and then I think we'll get out of here.
All right. Sounds good.
Well, comments can take a half an hour, so.
Yeah, right.
Don't get too excited. Don't go anywhere. We're just starting now. Mike does say good morning. Good morning. I think it's morning. I don't even know. My whole mind is Swiss cheese now. I look at the time in my mind. Do you look at the clock right now and your mind's telling you wrong?
Yeah.
That's a lie. It is not noon.
Yeah, right. Well, here it's 10 o'clock, but it's not 10 o'clock. It's actually 11, so I don't even know what to tell you.
I don't know, man. All I know is that I want to go back to bed.
Yeah, right. Good
Can
morning,
Can I be excused from the Sunday COMiX brunch so I can go back? Back to bed. Thank you. Thank you for everyone watching who appreciates that. All right. So, Trish said, good morning, beautiful people. Good morning, you beautiful person. Trish and I will cry. We're a bit of criers. Let me tell you, tonight's going to be hard. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to fucking tear up when it comes to Keith. I can, like right now, just talking about it, I feel a tear welling because I knew Keith Thomas. He's someone who encouraged me early on when it was hard and I was going through all my back stuff. And my back was, I hadn't figured out how to live with as much pain as I was in. And he was a really supportive person of everything I was doing with the then Creators of Written Sins, which became Comic Book Advocates now. And when he died, it messed me up. This was someone I had talked to when I wanted advice. He was the guy I went to when I wanted advice. Yeah. He was someone I trusted, and he was one of a kind. So tonight's going to be a rough night, especially like we start the show tonight. I'll tell you that we start the show by inducting him, and to start right there, because now you're going to be emotional the whole night, and no matter what, you'll be emotional because you know it's coming. Yeah. So I'm happy that we get to show him the respect he deserves. Thank you for Michael. Prayer the other day. I'm not sure what you mean on this one, Michael. And I'm tired, so if I'm missing it, I apologize.
I don't remember this one now.
Yeah. Extra 2 links and ends very soon. That was for Hellbringers, by the way, and Vampire Bloodlines. I just wanted to play that first so it made sense. And of course, the link to the Continuum Comics, which you can go to by just doing a continuumcomics.com.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Look, we're waiting for that 100.
Are we still waiting? A
few minutes ago. I'm trying to look now and see, but yeah, we're waiting. We're still waiting on 100.
I'm trying to go to my Kickstarter thing, and how are we not at 100, man?
You know what? It's almost like that.
No, but I'm saying the 100 mark. That's one of those numbers I like to hit. Like if I'm a backer, I want to be backer number 100. Just remember, $1 you get that library PDF pack, which is, I mean, insanity. And I love doing this. I love giving back.
I mean, that's some stuff that you actually see around. Like I'm looking at it right now. I'm seeing like Amazonia, Shark of War, Nightwolf. That's some stuff right there. That's for just $1.
Yeah, I mean, here it is. I'm loading it now. We slightly renamed it. And Brad, we're going to get to your comment in 1 second, I promise. But first, we just want to show what we're talking about. So this is what you guys are going to get for everyone involved. Look at all. I mean, you're going to get the first Advocator now.
All right.
Voodoo Nations from Travis Gibb, Mary Jane, Nightwolf, Rob stuff. What?
Yep. I was going to say, and look, of course, Joe D. McPhee's Amazonia.
Yeah.
You can't pass that up.
And all for $1. It's insanity. You get all these PDFs, and then if you like what you see, some of these have second and third and fourth issues already. You know, Shark of War, I believe we're on campaign right now for the third one.
Right. And Amazonia has been around for a long time.
10 years. If I remember correctly, this is the 10th anniversary. And he's put out a lot. And even Rob Molatari with The Wolf. That thing it's a trade now. He just keeps pumping up. Beautiful art.
It's hot, yeah.
And I'm not just bullshitting you. Like, hey, hold on. I'll be right back. Take over the comms, Michael.
Oh boy. Okay, let's see.
Hold on, I'm back. I might or might not be, like, I'm still at the point where I might or might not be wearing things that are appropriate. I'll tell you what I'm wearing. I'm wearing Batman boxer shorts, but I just don't want to hear that. He was in boxer shorts from my sister.
Oh, yeah, boxers? I mean...
my sister watches this stuff, and she's like, do not show a nipple. It's not funny. And she goes, I heard you mocking me. It's not funny that you're mocking me. And all I hear in my head is, it's not funny that you're knocking me. I'm going to get such an angry text later.
Oh, boy.
But look, I don't bullshit, kids. I like this. Look at that, man. Look at the beautifulness that this book is. I am a fan. I back the projects. I love wolves. For those who don't know, I actually love, like, that's the one creature I really respect. And if I had to go out, fist to cuffs, I'd be okay if it was a wolf that did it, but I'd fight. I'd take one with me. We would be soul animals in the afterlife.
Oh man, let's hope that's not a situation that comes up.
I saw that thing with what's his name? The guy who's I have a certain set of skills. What's that actor?
Oh, Liam Neeson. Yeah.
Yeah, Liam Neeson. I saw his Wolf movie,
Yeah.
and I was like, why didn't you just make friends? Like, I don't understand. The whole time, you should just try to make friends with them. Cut off your own arm, cook it, be like, we can be friends.
I don't know. Then they might get a taste for you.
You just point to someone else. No, it's from him. You do the politic thing.
And that's what the pandemic has done for us, folks.
It's Charlie the Wolf. That's where the meat went. I got it from him when you guys were looking. I'd be happy to take a fan award if you're giving them out. You're kidding, but Meredith might be doing a show dedicated to awarding fans for their fandom.
Oh wow! I know somebody.
Yeah. I suggested it to her when she tried to put it. She tried to be like, "Hey, Rob, you know what you should do?" And I'm like, "That's a great idea. You should do it. I put you in charge of the president." And getting me to. I fell for this award thing once. I am not falling it for again.
You're not going to suggest I do more work. No, that's not going to happen.
Ooh, I'd be happy to tune in. Greetings from Cyprus. Greetings, my friend. What time is it in? Do they even follow the does Cyprus even do that? Like time juggle? I don't know. Some of the world never did it. They were just like,
how do you figure that out? How do you figure that out? I mean, it was instituted by or it was suggested. I don't know if it was instituted by Benjamin Franklin. So that's kind of an American thing. So I don't know.
I think England does it.
Maybe
I'm not going to Google it now, but I'll have to look. Actually, let's Echo. Does England follow a different time zone based upon I don't know what would you call it? There's like a fancy word for it.
Daylight savings time.
Okay, just that. Hey, Echo, does England follow daylight savings time?
I didn't hear that.
Echo, does England follow daylight savings time?
Here's something I found on the web. According to Guardian.com, in reality, daylight saving time was proposed in England in 1907 in order to use every moment of sunlight each day.
But she didn't.
Okay, so does that mean it's
you failed me, Echo. You have failed me. All right, I'm going to get a copy strike now. You had Echo on your program without Google's permission.
Oh my God!
Google owns. No, Amazon. Amazon owns.
Well, it just shows you she didn't get it right. That's something. Amazon, yeah. I can't tell anymore. They all kind of blend together.
I know they're all listening. They're all like, "Can we be taken out?" They keep sending Morse code. Gee, he says some crazy shit when no one's around. Mike should be given an award for having Mike Drop's name after him.
Okay.
Mike Drop.
Mike Drop.
He should be given an award because, Mike Drop's name after him. Get it? I love dad jokes, but like that took me a minute just because I'm tired. But it was funny. No, dropping links is fun. Yeah, he did, man. He should be given an award for all that. I'll be honest, I suggested it, but I this year I wasn't giving anything away because I actually have a council that I go to. Chuck is part of it. You guys know Meredith and Varian were all part of it. And I left it up to everyone else to give out an award if they wanted to as a recognition. I did it last year. I didn't want to do it this year. I wanted everyone else to do it. Varian was the only one to do it. I will not be giving out recognition awards. The reason was that some people were upset last year when I chose one person, and I don't like getting in the middle of it. I appreciate you all. But if there was an award for awesomeness, you'd all get it. Let's put it that way. Marvy says hello. Pops says hello. I felt the same way after Belial #1. Man, I really did. Yeah, it's that leveling up moment. Once you make something that you love so much, you're like, oh, that's it. Yeah, that's who I want to be. This is who I'm going to be going forward. And it kind of changes how you look at everything you create from that moment. Like I said, you do have to understand, especially like I will be working with newer creators. Part of what I'll be doing in the future, not just to continue, but with comic book school, not every artist is going to be polished yet. I want to work with them to help them learn, but the things I've learned, I can teach backwards.
Right.
Or pass down, I think is the better term for it, because you don't want to teach it backwards.
But we got you.
Yeah. It's the dyslexic. Leave me alone. This is what happens when you get 2 hours of sleep because you're building an award show.
And 1 hour is taken away from you.
where can I order your Alter Egos book? You can order my Alter Egos book at your local comic book shop, as it's in Diamond. So they can order you a copy and it can be delivered to you, or you can find it on scoutcomics.com in 10 days. If you want an original edition, just send me a message to my messenger and I'll be happy to ship you out one of the originals that are now collector's items. That's right. That's right. And I'm not trying to make a lot of money off you guys. I just sell them when I sell them at the table. Don't worry. I'm not going to be like, "Oh, this is an exclusive $75 version." I got that Oz book.
Yeah.
I did the signing, and I think you saw that because I think you liked one of them.
Yeah.
So I was there for the signing, and I looked at the cost of it. I should actually bring them over. Hold on, I'm going to turn off my camera real quick. But I did the signing. Some of these books are like priced at like $60, and I was like, "Oh my god, am I allowed to have that?" Like I felt like I wasn't allowed to be in a book that was that expensive.
Golly, well, how many pages is it?
Oh,
it's a lot, isn't it?
I want to say 144, but that could be because of comic book school on my mind.
Right, could be.
But I mean, these are hardcovers. Like these are like official merch right here.
Oh well, there you go.
Yeah, like there's no joke with this. Check this out. That's a note. This is gonna be on my table. Its price tag is $59.99.
Wow,
it's beautiful.
That's great.
It is a beautiful, beautiful book. Hard. I mean, like a real hardcover. They have a glow in the dark, which you have to charge. I have to remember how you charge the glow in the dark, but you have to charge the glow in the dark.
Usually, you put it up against like a light bulb or something like that.
Was it light bulb or sun? I couldn't remember. I know if you have an UV light, it does it right away.
And I know I've done it before with past things used to glow in the dark. I don't know necessarily that, but you put it up to like a light bulb for a little while, let it charge, and then it will glow.
See, look at these.
Oh wow, some nice stuff.
Right, and I have a story in it, and I looked at it, and you know when you look at something and you notice something, you're like, wait, I didn't authorize that. you start like going through a checklist, like I don't know if I like because I didn't letter it. I'm such a prima donna when it comes to lettering that I didn't letter. Like my own lettering probably wouldn't live up to me. If someone plopped me on the head and said, "Hey, Rob, this lettering's not yours," it was great though. Like I looked at the book, quality book. It's definitely something you can buy from Travis. I don't want to sell these online. I will always refer you back to Travis because he created it.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I don't want to sell these online is to help them continue because I know they're going to do an Alice in Wonderland one. I'm not planning to return for that one. I got stoned and watched Alice in Wonderland. It's now a horror film to me.
Which one? The Disney one?
The Disney one. The kids one.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, I don't do drugs, kids.
What? Stone? No. That's how I discovered the Teletubbies. Not Stone, though. Another hallucinant years ago.
I have 4 right now, and more are coming. Brad asked, who doesn't have a fetish or 2 or 3? Oh, you meant you. I was talking about books. The amount of fetishes I have, I think I only have one. Honestly, I think I only have 1 fetishes, but I have a shitload of kinks. I am definitely what they would call a kink. You know how there was that commercial where I'm the most interesting man in the world?
Yeah.
I might be in competition for I'm the most kinky man in the world.
Oh, my gosh.
Although I know there's some crazier people out there than me. I don't know if it's kinky or just dangerous, some of the stuff. Some of the things I've been asked to do, I was like, excuse me, I go to church. Cannot hear Meredith. We try not to
muted.
We try not to hear her all the time, but she
again, the views and the opinions expressed on this.
I'm gonna get yelled at for that one. So I leave to promote the continuum, and you taking little shit. It's just because my videos are better. I'm just saying.
You're racking them up today, your sister Meredith. Oh,
I know. Someone's gonna be like, he's anti-woman. All right, so C. I took a picture of C at the beginning, so everyone got it today. I'm going to talk to C into co-hosting CrownCon sometime. Show him rough. Never say to another man you're going to show them rough. I don't. And then ending it with LOL. No.
But I think I get what he's saying. I was talking about coming on. It was rough coming in, missing that hour. So, yeah, he kind of hits it almost 24/7 sometimes on those CrownCons, huh?
Trish can write poetry. Yeah, those COMiCons, like he does. I don't like the online events. You know, being in person the other day signing copies, despite the hand cramp because I have not signed my name in months. Luckily, I had been doing some in between, but I really hadn't signed that way in like months now.
Yeah,
it was intense, and I'm trying to watch Jax at the same time. I turn around one point, he's covered in like hand sanitizer all the way up to his elbow. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, what are you doing? What? He's just smiling, like, look, I'm being safe.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh!
Stop it!
Like COMiX. Oh.
Mike says now Trish will be writing poetry. Let her. I mean, that's the point. Like, if we can say to anyone, the continuum now is going to allow flash fiction and poetry. I love poetry, for those who don't know. I grew up thinking poetry had to be rhyming and about romance. It does not. It doesn't even have to have rhyming. It has to have a cadence to it. If you can carry a cadence, it's poetry, and it's also the way that it's structured. And it's encouraged. I think it's cool to allow a different avenue of creation to be in the book. And we could put one poetry from someone on this part of the page, another one in that, do panels where we put different poetry. Just imagine a page where it's just panel boxes and poetry in every panel box. We want to challenge it. Like, I didn't even talk about this. You remember that art that we showed for By the Sword? We got a quick look at that. So I don't even know if you know, we talked about this. So that book, you know how you read? Fancy talking about. Oh, by the way, for those wondering, a monster or cosplay story, The Advocator, is 4 pages. I made mine 6 pages. One of those pages, you'll have to turn the book sideways like this to read. So I wanted to do something unique and interesting. That entire By the Sword book will be read this way.
Golly. Yeah, I think we talked about it the other day.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So we're going to have a giant. We're still trying to figure it out. We're gonna make it happen. It's gonna look beautiful. You guys are gonna be like, oh, that's what I'm talking about. I call it the centerfold because I've never seen anyone do it before, and I don't know what else to call it.
That sounds good. Centerfold.
I'm gonna call it the centerfold motion. So that's gonna be cool. So yeah, tell Trish to write some poetry.
Yeah.
Meredith's in charge of the poetry side of it, not me. Illustrating poetry is a good idea. I did a few of those a couple years ago, and I've seen that where you put like an image and then you put it in white, and it looks pretty badass. You could do that too. One of them became part of a book. Yeah. This is C's happy face. I am still into Stooges phase. Yes, I will watch Stooges. It's just not on as much. Something about bad influences, I don't know. I had to choose smoking or comics, and I couldn't afford both in high school. Yeah, I gave up comics stupidly. Stupid.
You made the better choice, Mike.
But let me be honest. As drunk as I wasn't reading anything, even if I tried. So sorry to hear about your puppy. Yeah, I cried like I don't want to say like a little girl, because then I get all these messages about how like I'm shaming little girls. So I don't know. I don't have a reference. I no longer know what to say. Well, I'm crying like, so I'm just going to leave it in the air. I'm crying like you fit in the adjective that you think works for you.
Crying and fill in the blank.
Yeah. Hey, pops. Hey, guys. Says
Pancho Shariki. I don't know if I can pronounce that last name. I know the first name is Pancho for sure.
Oh, he says, hey, Pancho. Reaper 1, Squid 1. We heard about that. Cats can be fussy. There's a joke there. I think I've hit my limit of angry emails for the day.
Let's leave cats alone, because there's a lot of cat people out there.
Yeah, and I write a book called Cat Dad and Supermom. Everyone's always like, you don't like cats? Not at all. They're like, but you wrote a Cat Dad thing. I was like, that was the joke. In Spain, they have cheese with live maggots, and apparently it's quite tasty. I'm told heroin tastes good too, but I wouldn't do heroin.
I'm saying, looking at that. Well, I'll just have to take your word on that one. I'm not going to taste that one.
Hey, every time you say fucking BS, it appears in subtitles. Funny. No shit. Like only that. Just fuck. Just pops up. Motherfucker too. Oh, MF. I misread that. Whoa. I saw MF and I just read it out loud. I knew what it meant. Trish said people are buying TP again. I hope so. Eventually they're going to need some more. Unless you mean they're like winning for the store.
I think she means that they're buying it out again. Not
Dick. What did Dick Grayson do this week? Uh, we can use newspapers instead. That's a problem. There are no more newspapers. My neighbor doesn't get anything delivered. Trish sent the TP home to her mom. Her mom just couldn't find it. See, it's not a joke, man.
It's bad. It was, yeah. Even Australia was having that problem. Even in Australia, there was people that couldn't find TP.
Yeah, man. They're small islands, so they really were screwed. Yeah. I think the world would never change because people's jealousy. So we need to be in a group of good people and be inspired by them. I agree. That's why I do the comic advocates thing. That's why we've done all we have done. So absolutely, Marvy. You can't let the people who want to pull other people. Haters are going to hate. Let them hate and walk away.
Yep.
See you soon, M. Take care. Meredith. Sorry I have to go. Have a great week. Take care. Thank you, Marvy. And hopefully you watch the awards. And Marvy's a little off. We should ask Marvy if he deals with this time change. He would have been a great.
That's right. He's from Portugal, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm curious. We got a smile from Mike. Meredith Lagrand and Mike pair on a show.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Stormy is there for $1. That's right. Stormy's a great book, too. Stormy has 3 issues out in the 4th soon. I did hear that. I have seen that. That's true. I am part of the Wolf Pack and waiting for the KS trade, Kickstarter trade. Yep. Coming soon, from what I hear. Coming soon, Mike. Isn't it?
I'm not I don't know what that was referring to. I didn't catch that one.
Clown, maybe? Were we talking about clowns?
Isn't it? No. I don't know.
You got some of the shit we say, I don't even register. Like people later. Right? I'll see that someone's, hey, Rob, you got to check this out there. They have a screen cap of you doing something. Oh, my God, you got to go watch it. And I watch it. I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny. I don't remember saying that.
Yeah, right?
Cool.
I don't normally go back and watch myself, to be honest with you. I know you're supposed to, but I just I got to look at myself now.
You're supposed to a point to learn how to talk, communicate, talk better, to communicate, to adjudicate better. It's a way to learn your cadence and all that early on. I don't watch as much as my stuff as I used to because now I understand. If you notice, I don't say ums, and I don't because I did a radio program and I had to edit out all the ums. That cured me. I don't use and I don't take breaks anymore. I do get stuttery. I don't know if you call it stutter. It's my ADHD more than anything else, getting ahead of myself, and I trip on my words. But beyond that, I don't really think I need it. I'm like you. I'm like, I don't need to hear that fool. Lightworks did in my living room.
Talking about the glow in the dark. I do remember that when we were talking about how to charge the glow in the dark.
Yeah. No, I was going to ask him, is it a fluorescent bulb or a regular bulb? Because I think there's a difference.
The ones I remember I remember doing it on with the regular bulb. What's that?
Yeah, I have both in my house, so I'll try both, actually. The glowing surprised me when I turned off the light the other night. Yeah. Yeah, that'll do
hell of a glow.
You ever, okay, it's gonna be another letter. You ever wear a t-shirt to bed that glows in the dark and you're just dating someone and you've only gotten to that point where you're not sleeping together and they turn around and they look at you and they get startled by it and then they look at you like you're a child? Good times. Good times. And if they don't look at you like you're a child, they're a keeper. He said 5 hours was rough. My longest stream is 14.5 hours. Thank you, Pops, for clarifying that and not just saying my longest was 14 and a half hours. You would have made it worse. Thank you for making it to there.
Just putting on there.
I'm reading Flash Fiction Force Young Reader 1 anthology right now. Some great stuff in it. Very, very cool. Very cool. Crying like the lonely wolf. I get lonely. Crying like a vegan at a steakhouse. It's good. I like that one. I dated a girl. I dated her for a day because we went to go eat, and she was like a vegan, and she was like, when you're cutting into that steak, it's like murder. You can hear it. I'm like, is it still moving? I'll send it back to get cooked more. Normal bowl, Mike says. So many emails today. So many. Like, thank God I'm uncanny. Pop says year 1, not young reader.
Oh, okay. Talking about it's a Flash Fiction Force year 1.
Year 1. Oh, not young reader. Got you.
I was with you. I was thinking young reader too. That's what I guess because you're thinking of those,
Well, it's a code. In actual book, YR is actually Young Reader Pops. So I would have never thought the other way, but it makes sense. Year 1, by the way, is YR. If you want to do year, YR1. No, not YR. Sorry.
That's what he did. Hold on, you got me confused.
No, it's young readers that a year is what? Maybe it is. I don't give up. I'm too fucking tired.
Look, I know what M stands for mature.
Yeah, everyone wins. Everyone gets a YR today. Look under your chair. A YR for you. A YR for you.
You get a YR. You get a YR.
I forgot they have those things. LOL. All right, so that's it. So their awards, some of them are still active. Most of them this week aren't close. This wasn't really a week where we were going to be able to talk about it. There's this one guy who's doing really well now. He has a hell of a character, and he definitely he's definitely someone who knows how to use a coffin as a logo. I think you guys should all tune in tonight. I think you should all tune in if you like Coffin Comics tonight.
That guy has been around for years.
Yeah.
Years and years and years. So
I'm just saying tonight might have an exciting addition to the Hall of Fame. That's all I'll say. And of course, Keith Thomas is an exciting one to me, true and dear to my heart that we get to do this. The minute I started the Hall of Fame, I wanted to put him in. I didn't do it in year 1 simply because we still had more Into the Suck. And I wanted it to go with the end of the Into the Suck because that way all of his written work will have been published. And that is where we're at. Sadly, that is where we are. And I don't know what you're talking about, Mike.
Oh, Mike.
Maybe. We'll have to see.
All right. Tune in to see.
Yep, we're here. 1:31. We're out of here. Thank you all for tuning in. Tell them where they can find you on TreeLink.
Well, since I don't have a tree link, you'll have to look for me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and of course on Geek Speak tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow at Monday, co-anchoring with Meredith Lagrand. I'm sure we have a show tomorrow, and of course next Friday on Weekend. So, if you want to see my happy face,
I'm gonna get a tree link just to go back to my real site, chainlinks.site. All it'll be is a tree link that has that one link to all my stuff. Because we got to keep tree link. Meredith would be here. She'd tell you MJ Lagrand, I think is her tree link.
I think so.
That's close enough. Look it up.
Yeah.
Look it up. Just do tree link and girl who does everything. And it comes right up. It comes right up.
Or you can look for her on Facebook. It's probably right there in her profile.
It's in her bio. So Meredith Lagrand, she'll be on tonight during the awards. It's going to be a crazy, emotional night. 4 weeks in the making, 2 hours long. I have a schedule and my fingers crossed that we'll keep to it. Hopefully it's only 2 hours. I would love to land the son of a bitch at 2 hours, but we got some exciting stuff. So that's it. I mean, me and Steve don't have a lot to talk about. Back to Continuum. Well, I mean, on our way out, we're like the coolest ones in the room. We're just like, let's go here. Meredith would be like, Rob, talk about this. Rob, talk about that. And I'm like, ContinuumComics.com.
Yes.
The 100th backer spot is up, and then the 101, because you could be like a Dalmatian. I know what I did. See, they have a new series starting next week. I'm not kidding. They look now at 101 on Disney XD. This is what being a parent is. You know more about that than adult program.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So, real quick, funny story, and then we're out of here. I'm going to leave you all for the week because I'm on vacation until next Sunday. Oh, I'll be at Backer Paws actually. Backer Paws I'll be at, but I'm actually taking vacation with my son, so you'll see me only on Backer Paws this week because C does Weekended better than I ever did, so it's his show. And here's the funny story. I saw this. This was on a TikTok. They were like, "Have you ever had an abusive work relationship?" And you saw this woman, and she's like, "Yes, I have a boss, and he hits me at times. He throws food at me. He yells at me. He won't listen to the things I try to tell him. He bosses me around in such he's so mean to me. He doesn't care about my feelings. And all of a sudden, you see this little kid run up to her and jump on top of her and yell in her face and run away. And she's just like, please send help. That's what every parent feels like during this weird We made it 1 year later. You guys, we're all on the other side. We're seeing the end of the tunnel. We're going to go back out into the world, and it'll still suck a little bit, but we can make it better by being kind to each other. So let's do that. Let's be kind. Let's be generous, and let's be genuine. Yeah. Anything else to say, C?
No, that's it. Be optimistic, guys.
Now, we don't have an outro video because we're in the middle of fixing it. So pretend you saw like an outro video right now. But what I can play you instead, I mean, you want to see a really good video? There's this awesome video I put together. Total passion project here, guys. Total passion project. I went to the Spielberg School of Art, film and industry stuff to do this. Here it is. This is the award-winning, because I'm going to give myself an award. Because I beat Meredith every week so far. She's going to come back. So it's going to be like a motion picture. There's going to be like real celebrities in what she brings next. This is Enter the Continuum. Welcome to the Continuum Kickstarter, brought to you by Continuum COMiX, where creators rise together through creation, bridging universes together. So are you ready to enter the Continuum? Let's take a peek inside. First up, we have Reapers. Check out this universe full of spiritual gold that the ragtop, psychic vampires, alien reverends, and other money-hungry groups are all trying to reap. That very same spiritual gold. And this is the beginning of the Wolf and Fox. It all starts here in a new universe of a newly divorced heroic duo that must come to grips with their divorce while trying to find a way to protect the city they both love, named Jax. And in this issue, we also have the Eclipse. This is a universe full of catalysts, and after a tragic event on one of the Hawaiian Islands, Eclipse's very own heroism is called into question and becomes a person of interest of an employee of the U.S. government known as a fixer. If the Twilight Zone, Outer Limits, and Hitchcock Presents were working together and was